So good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector. And tonight I'm joined by Luke from the band Laceration. So Luke, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain.
Awesome. If
Doing
you are
great.
wearing all white, you are the perfect image of the Jesus that people in the States think they look like.
Shit.
I'm like, there's Jesus. So, uh,
Oh, man.
yeah, and you dropped your album on Friday, which was a
Yep.
great fucking day for heavy metal. The day that we have a band play the Olympics, and a lot of cool album came out that day. So historic day for metal.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. No, it was a great day. It was a good Friday, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it was a good Friday, and yeah, and great all around for metal. So yeah, man, listen to the album. So yeah, you guys are from the Bay area, and you play a mixture of death metal with thrash metal because I felt that both those influences. And this is your second album, which is called I Erode, and it's out already. That's Friday on $20 Pin. So far, what has been the reception to the new album?
Reception's been killer, man. I mean, uh, yeah, we can't ask for more when it comes to anybody that shares our stuff and reaches out and has something positive to say, or even just shows that they're listening to it. I mean, that's huge for us, and it's all much appreciated. So I mean, of course, whatever you do, whether it's art, someone's going to have something bad to say, but I mean, that's just a part of life, and it doesn't phase us. We don't give a shit. It's material that we're proud of, that we worked hard for. And at the end of the day, we make music that we want to hear, and it's a secondary benefit if people like it. So, the response has been really solid so far. We can't complain.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, when you think about it, if you write something thinking of what others going to like, you are never going to achieve that because you never know.
No, no.
Like
I
some
mean, I'm sure, people I'm sure do, and they absolutely kind of like approach that from, the writing point of view of, oh, hopefully, oh, this riff is gonna, it's gonna do this, or it's gotta do this, or has some sort of, I don't know, intent to it. But it's like that should just be an organic, writing style anyhow. If it sounds sick, it sounds sick, and if it hits, it hits. Not necessarily like looking to create something that definitely is going to be, put this, I guess, what I don't care, can't put the word on it, but yeah, write like how you want to hear music. That's how we do it.
Well, I think if you're listening to music and you're thinking they have to do this after, I don't think you're enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
agreed.
don't know. Even when I do review a lot of albums, but what I do is usually the first listen, I just listen to it just without looking at the song names, just to get a vibe of what the album sounds like. And then I do like I check out like on my second, third listen, I check, okay, let's see what I like more. But the first listen is all about the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no bias. You listen to
Yeah.
it from the perspective of taking something in for the first time. And if it's good, it's good. And if it's not, then it's not. If it's not your thing, then, move on.
Yeah, sometimes when I hear something that I think from the beginning I don't like it, I'm like, let's give it a few spins. And sometimes I like it more the second spin, and sometimes I think no, it's just as bad as the first time that
Yeah.
that
Hey,
I
sometimes,
listen to it.
sometimes,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
sometimes it's like that. It's good to go back though. It's definitely a healthy thing to go back to a release that you may not have enjoyed, or go back with a different perspective on it. Uh, so it's definitely not a bad thing, not a bad
yeah, I
trait.
have a whole series on my channel that is based on that. We call it "Is It That Bad?" And I do a panel with more people, and we take a look at albums that maybe when it came out, some people liked it or had like mixed reviews, and then we listened to them. And like 20 years, like I think when you hear something like 20 years later, you can be like, yeah, like I see
Yeah.
what was bad, or like maybe it wasn't that bad. So yeah, we it's pretty fun because a lot of people, it's easy to talk about the classic albums. Like this Friday, you know, like this weekend, you know, we had the first metal band in Olympics, and Ride the Lightning turned 40 on Saturday. So yeah, it was easy to go back and listen to Ride the Lightning, and I'm like, yeah, it's still good 40
It's
years.
still good. It's always going to be good. Yeah, there's definitely no at least from metalheads like us, you know, that's not a hard one to
No,
get
I
sold
think
on.
I never heard anyone say that. If someone says that that album is bad, I'm like, what's bad about it?
Yeah, no. I don't think there's one person that says you know, the only thing that you'll get from Metallica fans is what album's better than the other album, you know, than another album. You're
yeah.
not going to no Metallica fan's going to say fuck Ride the Lightning. There's no way.
No, 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 no.
No.
No one's gonna say that. So, so you know, sophomore album. You know, how did you get? Because you get people get the sophomore like jinx, or like people get
Yeah.
scared with a sophomore record. Like, how did you like tackle the sophomore record? Like, did you go like, let's just build upon what we did on the first record, it came out in 2021, or let's just like do something different for this one? How do you think that you change or added to the sound that you already
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I mean, you know, getting the first record finally out after so long, because again, it all depended. It all worked its way into the perfect vibe as far as the first to be in the position to actually be surrounded by like-minded individuals. It's like, all right, we're gonna write a record for the first record, Demise, and you know, getting that out was great. A lot of the material was you know, it had been in the works for years prior,
Mhm.
so it was good to get that out. And you know, with the new record, the writing style, it didn't necessarily change, perhaps. You know, it's just a matter of those are the types of riffs we're writing, which, you know, I mean, it definitely is comparable to the writing styles of Demise. However, with this lineup, we wrote this entire record minus one song with this same lineup. As far as in the past, that was more or less already pre-written before, and then recorded with another drummer during 2020,
Mhm.
and it was just different. And this time around, I mean, you know, we were playing live. We were playing live a lot with this lineup and actively writing the record at the same time, and that was a
You know,
huge difference.
you're biting more. You're like,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, this lineup, I mean, it's definitely the strongest lineup that I've seen in Laceration. Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's a great thing. And yeah, that's kind of how we all write very organically, very intrinsically. So you know, if it's a matter of a riff that, you know, we're not all stoked on, it's not like we got to keep this riff. It's like, okay, we'll move on, and it also sucks, so good, and now we'll write something better. And it just, you know, the chemistry was just firing on all cylinders. And you know, we wrote it over the course of the year, while also you know, playing extensively. And yeah, it was just a good chemistry with this
yeah.
lineup. And there was no necessary intent as far as like approaching the writing styles any differently. It just happened to be you know, working very closely and effectively with this lineup over the course of the year, and putting songs together when we could in between, you know, rehearsing the set for, you know, playing live. And it just, you know, worked out perfectly. It's very organic and fun.
Yeah, that's always good. It's good to be fun, and it's good that you're with a group of people that maybe you like each other, and there's more
Yeah,
chemistry. Because, like you
absolutely.
said, like you could be playing next to the best players in the world, but if you don't have chemistry, it's not gonna sound good.
Now, yeah, get the fuck
That's
out.
why
Yeah, you
that's
could
why there's
exact.
some super groups that work and some
Yeah,
that don't. Like
exactly.
yeah, it like you could be like, but if you're not vibing, like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be the same.
Uh,
It's like I think I had this conversation earlier about like an NBA team. You could have
yeah.
like, the best players, but if you don't work together, someone else is going to beat you. So
Well, yeah, and you know, when the chips are down, or
yeah,
I'm sorry, when things are going good, it's easy to just get by status quo. But when the chips are down or something goes haywire, if you're not friends at the end of the day, then you can't effectively communicate and work things out as adults and as professionals. And I'm living proof that lineups that you can't get along with don't fucking work.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense in every type of relationship. So this one you recorded over at Matt Harvey, legendary from Exhumed and Gruesome. I
oh yeah,
talked to him on the channel a few months ago when he had this.
cool.
He had like an album that it was like more instrumental stuff, like very different from what he does. But we talked about Gruesome and stuff. Great guy. How was that experience recording with someone who's like a legend, living legend in death
Oh,
metal?
it was very cool. Matt's a great guy. Uh, uh, he's got so much knowledge. He's seen it all. He's done it all. And at the end of the day, like, he's a musician. We're musicians. There's no egos. You know what I mean? Like, and
Mhm.
that's a huge thing because, again, he's he's done so much, and like, not having had recorded with him, you just don't know what to expect. I mean, I've known him for a long time, but I mean, when you spend that much amount of time and you're also working on something that you feel is your thing, you just don't know how it's going to go, as far as, oh well, you should try to do this or try to do that. Like, there was none of that. I mean, he just did his thing appropriately and effectively, and allowed us to more or less kind of like brainstorm on the fly for certain shit. And then he also added his insight and input on specific ways to maybe like harmonize something, or like a vocal layer, because he's a guitar player, vocalist. I
Yeah.
am too. So I look up to a guy like him that's he's tried and true. He's seen it all. He's been doing this shit for a long time, and there's a reason why he's still going strong. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, and it shows. And yeah, very accommodating, man. Like, we had such a great time just shooting the shit, talking about all sorts of different genres of metal, and laying it down essentially. It was great.
Yeah, so you recorded there, but you mixed and mastered with Greg Wilkinson,
Yeah.
who's done, obviously great bands like Bastum, Ultar, High on Fire. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
awesome. And the artwork for the album, it's pretty cool. I see it's done by James Bosima, who's done Frozen Soul, Kerry King. So this is a good segue to
Yeah.
showing the album artwork, which is pretty cool artwork. So here is the artwork for Laceration I Erode. So we already talked about who did the album cover, but just tell us a little bit about what you guys as a band wanted to convey with this artwork.
For the artwork, it's primarily based around the title track.
Yeah,
Essentially the self,
eroding.
yeah, humanity in a universal perspective, um, being reconsumed and buried essentially by nature, reclaiming the earth, erasing humanity from its surface, and more or less becoming sentient, and in a blink of an eye, it could just turn. And obviously there's some fantasy behind this. Obviously, it's not necessarily try to be a reality or realistic, uh, a fat, or what's the word I'm looking for? Something that's actually going to happen. But
So
um,
are you saying you don't want this to happen? I'm
I'm saying it's
kidding.
definitely we're due for a refresh. If that's what you want to say. That's what you want to say. Yeah. So conceptually, nature taking over, just destroying humanity, reclaiming itself, healing, and it's we've only been here for so long, and look what we've already done. We've managed to be able to, just tie a tourniquet around the earth and cut it off essentially.
Yeah,
So yeah, and he nailed it. The color
oh, he did.
scheme, yeah, the color scheme, it's just absolutely phenomenal. The detail, uh, the rough
You can see the
sketch.
mushrooms in the skeletons.
Yeah, I mean, mycelium and fungal networks are, the biggest living organism on Earth, and you better believe they're going to have a part in consuming our remains.
Yeah, well, I saw The Last of Us, man. That's did you ever see that series? That's how they They,
I did, and by no means is there any sort of
I
specific
know,
correlation to this one.
but
But
it was
hey, I mean,
brilliant because every other zombie show, there's never a fucking explanation. It's like, oh,
yeah,
it just happens. But on that one, they actually used a scientific explanation that kind of made
yeah,
sense.
it, definitely a very cool concept.
Yeah, it was the
Cool
most
concept.
original thing, and I played the video game. So, but yeah, I
Okay.
saw the mushrooms there. So obviously, have you ever seen that? There's another show that they, I don't know if it was on History Channel called Life After People. And
Hmm.
every show they take like a big city and they say like what would theoretically happen. Like they say like
Yeah.
2 days after people, like 5 years. So it's pretty interesting. And you see like nature like growing back. And like after some years, like let's say humanity comes back, there would be no evidence of the people who
Yeah.
existed before.
Right. Unless you can dig,
Unless
and if you're using primitive tools, it's going to take a long time to dig and start discovering.
it's
So, I
gonna
mean,
take
shit, when was the first dinosaur skeleton actually determined unearthed? It's not, it realistically wasn't that long ago. So as far as in the lifespan of humans, um, you know, it takes a long time to become advanced.
oh yeah, there's parts of the ocean that we haven't. Well, actually, we've explored the ocean less than space,
Exactly. Trip on that.
which I find very interesting. And I've done scuba diving, and the ocean is beautiful, but it can also be a very terrifying place.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Very unknown.
very interesting. So yeah, the album cover, awesome. And the single that you have the video for that you first chose was Strangled by Hatred, which if
Yeah.
that's not a death metal song, I don't know what is. The,
Right.
that's just a great title that runs off the uh, tip of your tongue. And it's got that great like death metal riffing, the vocals. Tell me a little bit about the themes and the inspiration for that track.
For Strangled, we have a lot of prejudice in the world. Humans absolutely treat each other uh, like absolute trash, and I mean, it it technically describes, a human embodying just hate. And I mean, to walk around all day, or go your entire life with just holding ignorance or specific indoctrinated thoughts, how much of a disservice that is, and the bestow this these people, or individuals that just have this specific lens to just hate for no reason, whether it is a reason or whether it's not. um Imagine just strangling you from understanding the beauty of life and the beauty of humanity, because there is beauty within being human. And I mean, strangled by hatred, it's pretty it's in the title, really. You could definitely make it however whatever you want. You can put it to whatever specific scenario of empowered hate that you want. But as far as you could be subjective with it or apply it here and there, just different aspects of hatred. But it's pretty straightforward concept.
Yeah, did you guys
Definitely. I
know? Yeah. Sorry, you're gonna finish.
Oh no, I definitely like to write lyrics that you can take it as you want. In a sense, you can apply it to, based on how it's structured, and start to end. I like to tell a story in this, for the most part, or at least somewhat of uh, a circle that could be reconnected um, in my lyrical styles. But yeah, a lot of the times it is not necessarily obscure to a degree, but take it as you will, read into it how you want to. But also, it's kind of that those are kind of clear lyrics, clear
Yeah.
title, clear concept.
Were you clear from the start that that had to be the single, like the because it sounds so it's a song that grabs you by the throat and never lets you go.
Uh, yeah. So when we when we decided the singles, I mean, we honestly, besides the title track, and obviously the instrumental, any of the songs could have been a single for us. I mean, we're satisfied that they do what they're supposed to do upon first listen. So But that one ended up, I don't know how we decide shit. I think we just, what do you guys want to do? Should we do Strangled? Okay. And then
Yeah,
let's do a video for it. We all love that song. So
it's
it
a
was
great
definitely,
song. Yeah,
it
I
was
think
a, thank you.
you have like two instrumentals. Like you have the
We
gradation,
got,
that's like the intro, and you have at the like Dreams of the Formless in the middle, which is a good way
right.
to go into the second halfway. And I had a question on the song Carcelarity. Does that have to do
Carcerality.
with prisons? Because
Yeah.
carcel is a Spanish word.
Carceral. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely, that song is about the industrial, the prison industrial complex. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like carcel. Yeah, carcel. Carcel's a jail. That's a good
Yeah.
thing that I speak Spanish. So yeah, that's a cool track as well. And it's a good thing that you write about like because a lot of like death metal, like there's a lot of death metal that's pretty cool, but there's just so much songs about zombies that you can take sometimes. So you write about different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not into I don't think the cheesy gore thing is, that's just me personal. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Cannibal Corpse.
But
And,
it can
but
become like a trope. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and again, I'm not knocking anybody, but me personally, I think it's dumb and I think it's cheap. Like that's just my perspective. Do I still listen to these bands that rap about skulls being smashed in? Like, yes, of course. However, when I write a song, I like to have it have some meaning or uh, expose something, have an actual message. But that's just my creative angle that I like to manage it.
Yeah, no, but I think it's good because I think it like like you have something to say and like not have like because there's maybe newer bands they're like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing this because like it's being
Yeah,
done. So it's good to like you have like talking about jails, you're talking about like hatred, you're
yeah.
talking
And I
about
mean, this
yeah.
especially like early on, like as far as that was something right from the get go. As far as because I've always done vocals in this band, and
Mhm.
right from the jump, I'm like, even at 16, back in 2006 when first started getting things put together, I'm like, all right, even then, and I don't know how because me now to me at 16 was completely different. But even then, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, the band's called Laceration. Can't write shit about blood, cannot get gory because that's just too cliche. And so, I mean, it's definitely stuck. Not saying that there hasn't been some aspects of um, something early on, or because brutality is brutality. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think it's just kind of it's just too easy. It's an easy out. You got to work for it in this shit.
So when you're writing lyrics, how do you approach it? Like, do you go with ideas that you want to tackle from stuff that's happening in the news or in real life?
I mean, I also do like to not get repetitive. I like to come out with something that I haven't done before, whether it's a song title or a concept, even a riff. If we have something that's a similar, tempo or something, it's like, and again, of course, if we blast at 250 or 200 BPM, that's one thing. But is the riff similar to the song before, or the song after, or a
Mhm.
song from the last album? Like, I like to keep it unique, or at least unique as possible. Again, because we're not reinventing the wheel. We're reinventing ourselves every time we produce music. Um, as far as how we will write a song. And with that being said, we do like to stay creative and make sure we don't become redundant in at least our style of writing or concept. So when it comes to like lyrical concepts, or song title or song topic, um, I don't. It's just like, okay, well, what haven't we done? And can this be something that is something we should talk about, or I'd like to talk about? Um, and it just kind of just goes like that. And the concept with Erode, I've definitely not written anything like nature destroying mankind, becoming sentient and just destroying the world essentially. um so it's just a, have I done this, has Laceration done this yet? you
Yeah.
know
So that means that for the next record, you cannot write something called "I Keep Eroding."
Definitely not. No, there's no. The erosion cannot continue. No.
Like, you can't. Well, there's some bands that have done that, like famous bands that have like a part two of a song, and sometimes you're like, oh, they just put that title because it's going to people are going to hear it.
Yeah, watch our next record. I'll accidentally say erode or erosion in a song, and someone's gonna be like, "You fucking did it."
You did it. No, when you record the next one, you're gonna you're gonna have to fact check. Like we didn't say nothing about eroding.
Oh yeah, no, I've got all my lyrics saved and everything, so I definitely like to keep it at least clean and not double back. But I mean, we're talking, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, no,
Try
but
my
it's a
best.
good thing. It's a good thing because uh there has to be a time like you're on your second record, but let's say 10 years down the road, like it will get harder. Like we need to
Yeah.
but it's yeah, I have no idea like how to write effective songs or stuff like that. So I wouldn't know,
I
but
mean, I'm not a genius by no means. I don't either technically. I just
yeah.
do my best though. Let's just get
No,
that
I
straight.
think everyone does that, unless you're very pretentious.
Yeah. Sure.
You're like, oh, this is music that is so advanced. So I hate it when a band comes like, no one has done this before. And then you
Oh
listen
yeah,
to
no,
it
get out of here.
and you're like, I think I've heard that before. Like, come on, like no one has done this before. Like, I don't know. Uh, like for example, like now it's very popular to have saxophone in some death metal. Like it's
Oh,
because
I've not heard that. I've
yeah,
not
like
heard
there's
anything.
a lot of bands that are using saxophone, and it's cool, but it's become like something that's now it's not that unusual to listen to some
Okay.
saxophones in some tracks. I don't know, like there was a time that in rock that you couldn't hear keyboards and stuff. So I think
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
it keeps evolving. So yeah, the album is out now, and I know people can already buy it on $20 Ping, but you haven't had your show. You're going to
No,
be a show on August 10th. That is going to be
that's right.
the album release show, and I have the flyer right here for that show. So it's going to be it's $15. Come on, people, $15 at the door, and you get 4 bands. Uh, you get Laceration, Aseptic, and the other 2 names, they're so metal that I can't read what it fucking says.
So the the band that's going to be co-headlining, that's Hemotoxin, and this
Nice.
flyer, the flyer is actually or the lineup is actually changed. So
Oh,
our friends in Burning Palace are going to also be on the bill, and they rip. They
ah,
all the bands rip. Aseptic is they're a killer band. Hemotoxin just came out with a new record this year. It's insane. So yeah, if you don't come for us, come for everybody else, because this $15 is,
yeah. Don't say that.
that's
Then when the other bands finish and you're going to play, everyone leaves, that wouldn't be good.
oh hey, you know what? If that's what you want to do, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think everyone will stick for all the shows, and it's gonna be in Santa Rosa, California, and all ages. So you can
Yeah,
be seven
no
years
excuse.
old and you can come to this just as long as your dad brings you.
Yeah. It's a killer vibe. Our scene is great. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna party for sure, and we're gonna play the entire record. We're not gonna do that ever again. At least this year. We're only gonna play specific songs at this show. So definitely come if you're
Oh, are you gonna
listening.
play it like from front to back, the first track
Yeah,
to
front to back,
nice? Yeah,
front
yeah,
to back.
yeah. One time, yeah. I think yeah. Is it challenging to play something like? Well, that's the order that it was intended to be listened to.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's not a challenge by no means. It's just a matter of being prepared, and
Mhm.
be before any show. We always, we're well rehearsed, and um, we've been rehearsing this album from front to back, and it's just a matter of having a plan and executing it.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool record, and it really has a
Thank you.
good flow to it, and it has a great beginning, a great ending, and I like it that it's death metal but with thrash metal elements because there's a lot of thrash metal riffing, and I think I like when a band mixes death and thrash. I don't know, because thrash metal has that like that melodic riffing to it that sometimes death metal can be like "Rrr" all the time. Like so, I like
Yeah, sure.
when band mix it because at least to me, I grew up listening to a lot of thrash metal and death metal really got more like popular in the 90s. I remember when I was
Yeah.
growing up. So yeah, cool time. So like is there one of these songs here from this record that for you which one like was the hardest for you to write?
Uh, I'd have to say the title track only because the lyrics took like longer than normal. I ended up just I wanted to make sure it was nice and cohesive and tied things all together. And yeah, I scrapped out. I'm on like I'm probably on like revision D on these lyrics. And yeah, but again, it's like, okay, well, making it work personally, that song took the longest, but um, realistically, no. I mean, no song was like, we didn't really trip up. We wrote a
Mhm.
lot of this stuff really, the songs just seemed to write themselves. I mean, I like I said, we were just clicking and writing on the side of playing shows and also, our busy, regular lives and stuff. So nothing was necessarily hard, I'd say. And nothing necessarily, none of these songs really dragged out. We kind of knocked them all out. Like as we, create a song or an intro riff or the specific first, start of a song, it just kind of like trickle effect. And we'd have a song written in like 2 rehearsals, 3 rehearsals. And I'd say personally, you could ask everybody else. They might have said something different as far as like that song sucked or something. We all write together too. So I don't think anybody really disagree with this statement, but personally, the lyrics I just hung me up on Erode, the title track.
Yeah, did
So,
you do
and
some
again,
research for that one since you wanted like to get like the theme?
um, not necessarily, just something that I wanted to be satisfied with of a conceptual, like I said, like more or less, and somebody might read these lyrics and say that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, but it makes sense to me. So from start to finish, tying it all together of the concept, um, worked out. But it just happened to take a while. I just kept deleting shit and having big chunks where I'm like starting a verse and then I just delete it all. And so yeah, as far as lyrically, I'd say that one. But musically, we just kind of just wrote very intrinsically.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think writing lyrics sometimes uh it's hard, and plus you have to read them, and maybe you read them and you're like, yeah, this you want to read them and make them have a good flow when you're singing them.
Yeah, right.
So
And then also, because again, I do I play guitar and do vocals at the same time, and I can't just play and do vocals over anything. It has to be very specific.
mhm.
So more 9 times out of 10, I have to write the majority of the riffs that I put vocals over. And um, that works because, it's like, okay, if somebody else has a riff, then maybe if I can do vocals over it, cool. If not, maybe we won't make that a riff with vocals. Or if we do, it's got to be a specific cadence over the riff and the vocals. So that's kind of tricky. So again, when it comes to the storytelling aspect or describing the concept from start to finish lyrically, the riffs also have to work in tandem. And again, go figure, that's with any song. But I feel like it is definitely a handicap as not being able to just sing and play over anything.
Yeah, but
So
you don't want to be like wanting to sing and like like while doing like a crazy ass solo or
yeah,
something. Like
right. Some bands do though. Some technical death metal bands um, eh, can do that, and I think that's just absolutely insanely sick. I can't do that. So when it comes to writing, it's definitely executed with intent.
yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I don't write
Or
or I
carefully,
would think
carefully.
that I would want some easy parts or a part that I can concentrate
Yeah.
on one part thinking and then maybe do I don't know. Yeah, I would say it was differently. Well, it has to be hard. Like when I see bands that you have the drummer singing, I'm like, that's because
Oh yeah.
it's technical, but drumming is physical. You're moving around like
No. Yeah,
hitting.
that's on another level of athletic ability. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just so impressive when drummers
Yeah.
can do
So
both.
yeah, so when I see a band that you have a drummer, it's like yeah, it's like how do they do that? Because it's not, it looks
Yeah.
super supremely hard to do.
I
Uh,
think I think I think in some cases though, it's probably a little bit more forgiving. Like like Exciter.
mhm.
Um, it's kind of like meat and potatoes. So I think in that case, if you're just doing a D beat, or a specific, you're not going crazy or anything. Like you can kind
Ringo
of stay
Starr
on the
could
mic.
sing because Ringo Starr he had like a very like a smaller kid, so
Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah, the tools and
yeah.
the music style definitely affect the complexity or
Yeah. But yeah, I always thought like interesting, like drummers that can drum and sing at the same time. So yeah, so you after this show on the 10th, what are the plans for the Laceration for the rest of the year?
So we're gonna do an album tour at the end of August, and we're gonna be going out with our friends from from San Francisco, Molten. So we're gonna be going down California, going to Arizona, Nevada, back to California, and then up to Oregon and back. So a West Coast tour in support of the album. Um, and then we've got some stuff lined up in the future that we hasn't been announced, so I can't say anything. But we've got a full West Coast tour planned for the album upcoming after the album release show. So that's going to be a good time.
That should be fun. When you go on tour, like what are your essential things that you have to take on tour?
Flip flops. I mean, you want to air out the dogs. Foot spray. Anytime, dude. Even if you go on a 2 day trip, if you go on a 2 day trip playing death metal, um, it can get stinky
I have
quick. And
flip-flops right now.
there we go. So, yeah, travel light. I mean, it's going to be really hot. We're going to be going to Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California, and at the end of August, September. So it's going to be hotter than hell. But you want to bring the essentials. You want to make sure you're clean. Um, you want to bring hand sanitizer. If a neck pillow for the van because you get shitty sleep. You pack out of the venue at 2 o'clock at the latest sometimes, and then you might have a long haul drive. So sleep. You're always just riding on like a couple hours of sleep, and it's not like we're not playing an AC/DC set, so like we bleed this shit live, so we're go all out. So you feel like you feel like you got your ass kicked on some nights when you don't fucking sleep good. But yeah, you bring your toothbrush, bring a couple of shirts, don't
That's
overpack.
a good thing. Like,
um
please brush your teeth on tour.
yeah, brush your teeth, spray your feet, change your clothes. uh yeah, stay hydrated, most importantly, and good tunes. Make sure to pack, just the essentials. Be comfortable, but don't overdo it, because you could wash a shirt or a pair of socks at a venue. Um, you know, so bring a good book or make sure you bring your phone charger. Don't fuck up and lose your phone charger. Have to stop and get another one every 200 miles or something. But
Yeah, that would totally suck, man, if you
yeah,
forgot any of those stuff. But yeah, it's exciting times. So it's gonna be cool and people, I'll put the link for the video that's already there. And for people who want to buy the album physically, if you're not going to be on the show, because obviously you'll take some merch to the shows. People want to buy the
oh
album,
yeah,
buy the shirts. Do you have it on cassette as well?
yeah. We do have tapes.
Because That's good. People are buying cassettes again. Who would have thought? I would have never thought like 20 years ago that people would be buying cassettes again.
Oh no, I know. When I was in high school, it was just all CDs. Good, we're a little bit different in age, but in high school, it was just all CDs. But I grew up listening to my brother's tapes. My older brother,
Oh yeah,
um,
I was at the beginning of when the tapes turned into CDs.
yeah, it was definitely a shift. I mean, the late '90s, it was definitely a tape collection go away. Your car doesn't have a cassette player anymore, and you can't just go to Best Buy or shop online and buy a Bluetooth boombox that's got Bluetooth capabilities and a cassette. 25 years ago. So yeah, primarily CDs, but I love tapes. I collect tapes. I don't collect records because I know that would be a slippery slope. And because I'd have to buy everybody's record
Oh,
on
I
vinyl.
started buying some vinyl, but it's too expensive. It's too
It's
expensive.
expensive. It's expensive, and
It takes a
especially
lot of
like
space.
it does, yeah. And you got to protect. It's a different type of protection, but I'm teetering on the line to starting a vinyl. Like I'm like this close because I just lost the band Void Ceremony, another $20 spin band, great band from the Pacific Northwest. My trusty cassette player, which I normally play all my tapes on, it's been pretty solid, but it actually just destroyed that tape, and I haven't had to do that. And now I'm not talking unwind. I'm talking like it destroyed the film.
Wow.
So I'm like, ah, shit. I don't want to risk another, prized tape or anything. So I'm like, all right, is this where my vinyl collection starts? Because I do have vinyl, but I just don't buy everybody's, LP essentially. So
It's too expensive. I started like buying uh, with the pandemic. I started like buying, but I started like buying a lot of 90s stuff that I used to love and have. And I just
oh
bought.
yeah,
I'm like, but I bought a few new stuff. But this is the thing. Sometimes you buy new stuff and then you're like, I don't love it as much because to me it was a no-brainer to get albums that I love that I've been listening to it for years because I know I like it. But then you buy
yeah,
something new and then you're like, I don't know, like.
yeah.
That's like, maybe I should stream it first and see.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. As far as an unhealthy or an unhealthy obsession or a collection is just shirts. If a band comes through, or we play with somebody sick, or if they come through our town and we're not playing, but go to the show, it's like most of the time I'll grab a shirt because that's something that you could represent,
and you
and
can
also,
learn, yeah, that's a good way to support bands by the shirt, the merch, the shirt. So,
yeah,
man, it's been great chatting with you. And I enjoyed the album. So I would recommend this album to people who like death metal mixed with thrash. You should enjoy this. So, Luke, anything you like
yeah.
to say before we go to the Laceration fans that or people that maybe are not fans and like, hey, listen to Laceration, like how?
Yeah, no, just thank you so much for the support. I mean, we're not going to stop, and we can't do it without the fans. So, you know, horns up to everybody that's supporting Laceration.
Nice. So I want to thank you, Luke, for joining me virtually here on the couch from
Thank you,
California,
man.
Puerto Rico. It's been fun. So until next time, this is
Hell yeah.
Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank
Right
you
on.
and goodbye.